digital marketing for women-owned business, and today's topic is how to grow your subscriber base with Patty Ross. So she's the Chief Executive Officer with Golden State Marketing. Before we get started with our main presentation, I just want to briefly talk to you about PACE for those of you who are new, but hopefully you've been joining the entire series and we'll complete the series. So thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Veronica Lopez. I'm a business counselor manager here at the Business Development Center. I oversee the City of Los Angeles, Pico-Union Westlake region, very long title, but basically means we're a business source center for the City of Los Angeles in the downtown region. Just to cover a little bit more about PACE, I always like giving PACE's general information. Sorry, but first housekeeping. So everyone, you're on webinar mode. We're not going to have raise I can't questions. Maybe we'll have that at the end if time allows, but we would like if you could enter any questions in the Q&A and then any comments or any networking in the chat. Today's webinar will be recorded. It will be placed on the e-library, and also all of today's attendees will receive a copy in their email. At the end of today's webinar, we encourage everyone to complete the survey. The survey is great feedback for us and also for our presenters regarding, how they did and also how can they do better, what kind of programming would be more effective for your type of business. Okay, so the Business Development Center was established in 1993 to advance the wealth of our communities by giving individuals the tools to develop sustainable businesses and manage their personal and business finances successfully. This PACE Business oversees multiple technical assistance contracts. So today's presentation is being led by the SBA Women's Business Center, Swando. So she's here. And then also myself with the City of LA. And then also we oversee the CAOSPA, the Go Biz program. And then, oh, we should remove that one. We are no longer an MBDA program, but we also are an SBA lender, a CDFI, so a Community Development Financial Institution. I always like to give a little shout out to the CDFIs because we're community lenders focusing on startups, which a lot of financial institutions kind of turn away the startups because they're so new, but on also growing business. So any businesses that are being challenged financially, we'll gladly take a look at your case and consider you for capital. Okay, so this is just an overview of all our programming. So one-on-one consultations. Of course, SWAN has the entrepreneurial training program with the WBC. There are different various courses, including today's courses. And like I was mentioning, we are an CDFI, which we do loans from 500 to 350,000. We also case by case can do larger loans. And in addition, we also help you package your loan for our banking partners as well. I also want to plug our City of Los Angeles Workforce Centers because they offer a 6-month incentive program if you're hiring a new employee to help cover half of their salary for training, which is great. It's half of the salary for 6 months, and you can extend it for up to a year. I would be remiss if I didn't share our upcoming webinars and also ask you to join us on August 21st for I can't remember which part number is, but it's a continuation of today's series. So the topic is Business Booster, Attract, Retain Customers. And then also coming up in this month, it's From Manager to Leader, Building Trust, Communication, and Impact, if you're not already signed up with our newsletter. Okay. With that, I want to now pass the floor to Patty Ross, and you can take it away, Patty.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Welcome, everyone. Let me share my slides. And we are having a little technical difficulty on my side. I'm going to try it just one more time, just in case. But if not, might not work. Nope, it's doing it again. Okay, never mind. Are you still seeing the slides here, the slideshow?
Yes. Just a black screen.
Oh, black. Okay, so let me do it. Yeah, there's a little something between Zoom and PowerPoint that's causing some problems for me. So I'm going to do this way. 1 second. Okay. All right. So if everybody share just while I'm doing this, if you want to share again, share in the chat where you're dialing in from And then also what your business is. There we go. As I delay a second there. Okay, so now I'm going to reshare. I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to do the full screen regular share. I have to kind of do it from here, unfortunately, because of some technical error with going on with the PowerPoint and Zoom. So hopefully everybody sees everything. I'm going to try to make the slides as big as possible. If I can get my Q&A to stop popping open. Let me make this bigger. Hopefully. Oops, hold on. Should be able to make it bigger. So all these things in the way. Okay, so okay, ooh, a little too big. So hopefully everybody sees it big enough from there. And I'm going to make these a little bit smaller so we can have more room. Okay, so we'll just do it this way. And I'll call Zoom after the class to figure out what's going on. So welcome to How to Grow Your Subscriber Base. So I am a Constant Contact authorized local expert. So this content is presented some by mostly by Constant Contact, a little bit by my own content from my own email marketing class. So typically when I'm teaching my email marketing class, I'd say I'm software agnostic and I talk about all the different email platforms out there. But today in this particular series is a Constant Contact series about email marketing. So we will be talking about their tool, in particular their platform. And at the end, keep your cameras and your phones out. I will have a couple of QR codes with a few gifts for you from Constant Contact, as well as some QR codes from me as well. So that'll be at the end of the presentation. So a little bit about me for those who haven't met me. I know I have see some familiar names in the crowd, but I have been in the online space for quite a few years, as you see here. Been in the wine industry off and on the technology and marketing side for 21 years, but I do work with all types of industries, be it business to business, business to consumer, and a little bit of business to government as well. And I do teach for, of course, PACE and other business source centers here in Los Angeles, SCORE, SBDCs, chambers, etc. So find me somewhere around the country, virtually at least. And I do recommend and serve in my local business community. So I am on the board of my local Venice Chamber of Commerce, which is a neighborhood in Los Angeles. I serve as the membership director for NAWBO Los Angeles, which is the National Association of Women Business Owners. And I also serve on BizFed LA Small Business Employment and Labor Committee. So if you get an opportunity to serve, lots of places to serve here in LA and the greater Los Angeles area, but if you're in your local area, serve your business community. It helps you and your business community. So there's my pitch for that. So the world of marketing and advertising. All right. So I know I share this in all my classes. I know this can be very confusing. I know, and I have another colleague in here. She'll probably agree with me. We probably confuse the heck out of business owners where you should go to spend your time and money for your business, for your marketing and advertising, right? You could go traditional TV, radio, print ads, billboards, direct mail, promotional products, public relations, networking, of course, online and offline. And then the digital side, right? Ever growing, crazy digital side. Websites we've had for quite a few decades now. Internet ads, social media has been about 25 years. Email marketing, which we're talking about today, it's been around just as long. I've been doing it, it feels like 25 years. Search engine optimization, text and Wi-Fi marketing, a little bit newer on the scene in comparison to email and social, right? Affiliate marketing, I did that 25 years ago. That's scary. It's been that long. Social media influencers, right? So where do you go and spend your time and money, right? So of course today we're talking about email marketing, but definitely have a plan in place. If you haven't done a business plan or a marketing or marketing plan, make sure you have that, especially knowing who your customers are, knowing where they hang out. So you don't need to be on every single one of these little planets of the world of marketing and advertising. But once you know who your customers are, you can focus in on where you should spend that time and money. So, and you'll learn how important email marketing is as part of that world, right? So if you want to share in the chat, right, we have both Q&A and chat, and I need to find my chat boxes again. I think I disappeared them for a second. Let me get the Q&A. There we go. So in the chat, if you can, put in there, do you have an email list? Just put yes, no, or whatever. Do you use it? Yes, no, kind of, sort of. How often you email, weekly, quarterly, when you remember. And then if you want to share which platform you use, it's okay if you're not using Constant Contact, okay, whatever you're using. And I'm trying to grab the Q&A. There it is. Okay, and grab the chat back. It keeps disappearing on me. Hold on one sec. Get rid of that. I don't know what's going on with the chat. There it is. Okay, so perfect. So we have an email list, but end up using my personal contacts with one-on-one marketing more. Okay, interesting. Yes, once a week, mail or light. No, bi-weekly. I don't have okay, PowerPoint to share. Okay, no. Let's see. All right. So yeah, share. Yep, using Wix, email once a month. Okay, so we got some people using it weekly, monthly, so a little different platforms out there. So thanks for sharing. If you want to keep sharing, you can. So this I call my drop the mic slide, right? So I can tell you these stats and drop the mic and leave, but I'll go ahead and continue on anyways. So email marketing has the best return on investment, best ROI of any marketing tool out there. You can see in comparison to other tools that we might use for our business. So this has been this statistic for many, many years, anywhere between 36 and 44. You'll see the number change throughout the years. But it's been that way for many years. You can see compared to social media, whether it's organic or paid ads, about half of that is return on investment. Search engine optimization, about half of that. Keywords, banner ads, pretty low. Text, mobile marketing, about $11 return on investment. So not saying don't do any of these, but if you're not doing email, you're collecting and not doing anything with it, you should be, right? Compared to this. Now, does everybody get this average of $40 return on investment every time? No, but if you're doing zero, you're getting zero ROI. Even if you got half of that, right? Or double it, a couple dollar ROI, that's still really good return on investment rather than 4,000% return on investment. So definitely, it hasn't changed. Email's not going anywhere. It's like been around. I'll show you some stats to show you the numbers are increasing and who's using it and all that. So you want to make sure you're doing email marketing. Hopefully, so far, I'm going to convince all of you that it's how important it is. All right, so let's keep talking about email. This is my top 10 email marketing mistakes, but I think they're pretty standard out there. So again, I already said not having a plan in place, right? Building a marketing plan, business plan, knowing who your customers are, what your goals are, knowing where they hang out, what you want, what you're trying to do, what the messaging is, and your branding, all of that stuff. So making sure you have that plan in place. Assuming your customers don't want email, I'll show you some stats in a minute to show you they do want it. They do want to hear from you more often than you think they do. So don't throw your own feelings on it. Like, I don't like email and I'm tired of getting so many emails. They do want to hear from you. And it's obviously a very important tool. Not collecting emails wherever you can, right? So I would say ABC, always be collecting, right? And we'll show this is what we're talking about today, right? Growing your subscriber list. Not being consistent all year, right? So some people might focus more on fourth quarter, which is right around the corner. We're going to blink and it's going to be the end of August in a minute, right? So making sure you are consistent because unless you only want to make money certain times of the year, you do want to hit your customers at all times. I'm working with a business. They're called Holiday Outdoor Decor, and I started working with them in February. And so we've been doing social media and twinkly lights and Christmas trees all right now, all getting ready for the big jobs coming, the outdoor decor. They do the big commercial displays, stadiums and streets and, all that stuff. So all year, we don't stop and wait until August to start doing, social media and email and all that. That's happening all year round for a business that focuses solely on fourth quarter for the most part, right? So no clear call to actions. Today we were not going deep in like email setup. This is more from my email marketing essentials, but making sure you have a clear call to action, all your emails, have them do something to convert, sign up for something, buy something, whatever that is. Number 6 is really two different things. And again, we're not going to go deep into this today, but I just want to share. So 6A, we'll call it, is using your personal email account, meaning you're sending, I think somebody mentioned they're doing that, sending bulk campaign emails through your Outlook or your Gmail or Apple Mail account. That's really meant for one-off emails, not to send promotional emails. They don't follow the canned spam rules of being able to unsubscribe. You don't get any analytics from it if you're just sending bulk emails from your personal email account. So there definitely don't want to be doing that. You should be using an email platform like Constant Contact or any of the other ones out there. And then number 6B, using a freemium email. So that means your main business email address is, so-and-so at gmail.com. If I did Golden State Marketing at Gmail or Yahoo or AOL or any of the free email accounts. So a couple of reasons. I say professionally, if you have a domain, you should be using a domain email to match as well. So people can see that. And if they don't know your website address and they just have an email, they can go, oh, this must be the domain, and I can go check it out. Technical reasons. So for any of the email platforms out there, you need to authenticate an email address, and you can't authenticate a free account, right? They want to make sure you are legitimately who you are saying you are, and they need to be able to handshake between your website host and, or sorry, no, your website host, your domain host, and your email platform. So say, for example, I use Constant Contact and I have my domain hosted at GoDaddy. GoDaddy and Constant Contact need to shake hands, so to speak, and say, okay, yep, she has access. I can go access her domain. She owns it. She's legitimately verified to use this domain. You can't do that with a freemium account. And I just think professionally looks better to be using your domain account as well. So technically, and I think professionally. And then not using automation. So like I said, we're not going to go too deep in that, but doing welcome series and abandoned cart, make it easy for you to send out emails, right? And then not looking under the hood, look at the statistics, your open rates, click rates, conversion, right? Are they doing the thing you want them to do? Are they making the purchase, downloading the thing, whatever it is that the conversion is? Not segmenting. So if you're able to segment your list, we'll talk a little bit about that in this presentation. So if you're able to segment in different ways to make sure you're targeting the message to the right people. Some of us might just have a generic message for everybody, but some might, if we can narrow it down so we're getting just the information that we should be receiving, right? And then thinking everybody can do email marketing. Now, based on that ROI that I showed you, and I hear this more with social media, right? Like, oh, I'll just have my teenage daughter. She's great at creating those cool Instagram reels with trending audio. I'll just have her do my social media. Or my son knows how to do great YouTube videos, so we'll just have him do it, right? So I want you to take your marketing just as seriously as you do any other part of your business, right? Just because your daughter's great with people wouldn't make her your HR manager, do your hiring for you, or she's great at math and you make her your bookkeeper for your business, right? So, and this is real life stuff. People have actually told me this, and somebody wanted me to train their 11-year-old son to use Canva so he could take over and do the social media. I'm like, let him finish middle school perhaps before he's in the family business in that way. So again, just my soapbox. Take it as seriously as you do any other part of your business, because this is how you're going to grow your business, right? So very important to do that. And there is strategy behind social media and email marketing, of course. So it's not a matter of just creating cool videos out there. Important, but not the only thing, right? So let me see if there's any questions, and I'll answer the questions along the way. Again, put any questions in Q&A, any comments or networking or whatever in the chat so I can kind of separate out the two as we're going along here. So next, just a few stats. So as you can see, email's not going anywhere. It's just going to be growing. This year, 4.6 billion users, 4.73 by next year. So it's more than half the world's population is on email. So it's still going to be there. And this is an interesting statistic too. So social media versus email, who's hanging out, by the demographics. So you can see on the top left, right, majority is that kind of 40 and below, right? Definitely social media is the young folks game here, and not as much on the 40 and below above in comparison. But look at email, right? Across the board, you have almost equal amount of users. Only drops off a tiny bit, a couple percentage points for 65 plus. So if your market is 65, I don't know if anybody here has a 60 or say 40 plus market, maybe you sell Medicare or your home health. I think there's a home health agency, which could be any age for home health care, but probably majority is older folks, right? So you want to reach them via email more than you're going to reach out via social media. But with a caveat with that, because I'm involved in that right now with dealing with my parents, you might be dealing with their kids, right? And older kids, right? So you might find me on social media to talk about home health care, but my parents might be, a newspaper or the email if they were still checking all that. So interesting to see, depending on what your age demographic is for your business. If it is 40 and below, hit them in both places, right? Not that the older folks aren't hanging out on social media. You can just see they're not as much as the younger 40 and below there. And they do want to hear from you more than you think they do. If they signed up, you're your favorite brand, right? They signed up for your list. They want to hear from you more often than you think. You can see here at least monthly, at least weekly is 61%, right? You see it drops off yearly, never. They do want to hear from you more often than you think. Right. And I hear this all the time. I didn't include it on this presentation. It's like I hear people say, maybe Chris does too, right? I don't want to annoy my customers by sending too many emails. I'm afraid that they're going to drop off my list if I send too many emails and annoy them. It's the only time, and maybe Chris is here, she's also a marketing professional. The only time I hear where we may annoy our customers is email. We don't say, oh, I don't want to annoy him with a billboard ad, or I don't want to annoy him with a social media post, or I'm going to annoy them with a radio ad, right? I only ever hear this when it comes to email, right? Or texting, to Wi-Fi or mobile texting ads as well. Um, we're guys are probably not even slightly irritating yet, right? Not doing enough. If you're doing like once a month, okay, quarterly, whenever you remember, maybe just during the holidays, weekly is good, but we can't be afraid to quote annoy our customers. We're not annoying them. We're promoting our business. We're marketing our business. So we can't look at it as annoying them. I always say if you were thinking of annoying them, maybe you shouldn't be in business because you have to be able to reach out some way. Your competitors are annoying them. I'm just using that. We're not really, but we can't look at it as like we're annoying them. It is a very powerful tool, as you saw here. So we want to make sure we're using it. So don't look at it as you're annoying your customers. They do actually want to hear from you. Okay. And then going on from there, so just a few little stats here. So personalized subject lines get 50% higher open rates. Actually, I don't have that. I don't know if I included that slide here. Including emojis on a subject line can get 56% more open than one without an emoji on there. Using video in your email can get 300% more click rate there. So a couple of just quick stats. And this is interesting too. So comparing email deliverability compared to social media, especially Facebook, right? Organically, right? So 90+% of your email is going to get delivered into an inbox. You have 90% higher. So the 10, say 5, 7, 10% are the bounces or some other technical issue that happens. But generally 90+% do make it into the inbox. That's a great number. Now, whether it's read or not, different story, but it will get into the inbox. Might go into a spam folder as well, but it does get delivered somewhere where, especially with Facebook organically, you only get about a 1 to 3% organic reach because there's so much going on with especially Facebook, right? You have your friends, you follow pages, you're in groups, and you have advertising. So Facebook starts throttling back the content based on what they think is most relevant to you, right? So based on the algorithm, what you engage with, right? Like, share, comment, etc. And we're talking specifically Facebook here. They have a higher reach than on Instagram and other platforms. So if you had 1,000 people on your email list and 1,000 followers on your Facebook page, 90% of your email recipients are going to receive it, where only about 2% of that 1,000 are going to potentially see your post. So not saying don't do social media, but make sure you're also doing email marketing. And we mostly want to receive promotional content through email rather than social media anyways, as we see on the right side there. So definitely important. Do both. Don't solely focus on social media if you can. Let's see. How can we protect our subscribers from AI scrapers? So your yeah, I'm not sure because my subscribers are in like constant contact. So I don't know if scrapers can. I haven't heard of that that they can go and scrape your subscribers from Constant Contact or a mail program. So I don't know if you've come across that. I haven't heard of that before. I don't know if Chris, you know anything about that? You can answer for me. Let's say I have contacts in categories. How do you determine who how often, oh, wait, how often each category should receive your email marketing, for example, realtor, vendors, customers, and friends and family. That's a good question. So I think it's going to really kind of be a depends answer. I don't think you would really have to, if I was me, I don't think you really have to determine a different cadence. Maybe for example, your customers, if to say real, I don't know if what you do exactly, but say your customers, you want to give weekly updates. Maybe your vendors, maybe every other week. I'm just, kind of throwing things out there. Maybe your friends and family, if it's for your business, maybe a couple of times a month. It just depends on what you're doing and what your focus is. So I'm always for doing more email than less email. So and I'll explain that too. It's like frequency, right? Consistency and frequency matters, and we're all different. I'll explain it now. I have it in my other class, but we're all different human and have different human behaviors, right? So we might think, oh, okay, I send out my one quarterly newsletter. Everybody's going to read it. That's cool. It's all I need to do. Right. But not everybody's going to see the quarterly newsletter, or say I'm promoting an event that's coming up in August and I'm going to send one email out, maybe one a week or one a month or whatever. But we're all different, right, on how we do things. So I use this analogy, right? So Christmas shoppers, right? Some of us are like, I get it done early. I have all my Christmas shopping done by July. I don't have to worry about shopping in fourth quarter. And you're probably early birds in probably everything in your life, right? You sign up for things early, you do things earlier. Then you have the people kind of in the middle, called the Pelotons, right? Let's just wait till Black Friday, right? That's about a month from Christmas. We still have time. So after Thanksgiving, and then you have the people who are like, oh gosh, it's December 24th. I still have plenty of time to shop, right? So they're probably the ones who are going to sign up for things at the last minute, right? So whether you have the people to be at the early birds who are going to sign up for your event weeks or months in advance, or the ones that are, oh, it's a few weeks later, and then the ones that are like, oh, it's today at 11, I'll sign up now, right? I do that for my classes, right? So if you're on my email list, you know that when I have webinars every week, I'll send it out. This is what's happening this week on a Monday. Oh, hey, Tuesday, there's a class. Tuesday, hey, it's this morning, sign up. And then one on Wednesday morning, and then Thursday morning, right? Because I know that some of you will maybe not have seen, or you're the ones like, it's too early. I don't want to commit. You're going to wait till the last minute. I had a gentleman once respond to one of my emails that was hey, this morning at 10 a.m. is a class. And he said, great, but would you mind in the future sending out emails with more notice so I have time to plan? And, as I did whiplash with my, and said, did he miss the other 10 emails I sent out about these classes? Maybe he's a December 24th Christmas shopper, and just the other emails didn't you know, connect in his mind, and he saw last chance, last minute, that's happening in an hour. So use those different behaviors. None of them are right or wrong. We're all different humans, we just have to go with that flow, right? That somebody might get that one at the beginning and respond to it, and somebody else might wait until the very last minute and do it. Right. We know we have those friends who like wait till the very last minute to commit to an event or doing something, making a plan. Work with those. Right. They're all good. We just have to work with all of them. Perfect. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So let's start talking about what we're covering today. So how to build a permission-based list, how to entice people to sign up, and then, well, since this is a constant contact webinar, how to use their sign-up tools. So I'll show you some of their tools. So these are some of the things that you can do through constant contact, right? They do, of course, constant contact has been around since 1995. Obviously start out just email, now everything, right? Automations, there's a lot of list growth tools. You can do digital ads through them, social media, and even text marketing. So it's not just an email platform, just like the other ones. MailChimp does a lot of these extra things as well, and some of the other tools out there. But specifically today, Constant Contact, this is what they do. So, of course, we want to grow our list to engage and stay top of mind as much as we possibly can. I already gave you the statistics, right? So, purchasing an email list. constant contact will not encourage that, of course. And I'm kind of the same way. You have to be very careful. A couple of reasons here definitely could be lower engagement because they hadn't really agreed to sign up for it. If you just bought a list and added them in there, it could work, but maybe not. Definitely spam risks, of course. And there's also definitely legal issues, especially in Europe. So, a couple of things that they don't say on here that you have to be aware of if you do buy a list. If you're going to buy a list, do not believe that it's a clean list, right? They might tell you, oh, it's clean, it's fresh, but um, not always. I've encountered people who have purchased lists and have had really bad results with the list. So if you do decide to purchase it, do clean it. But do not clean it by dumping it into Constant Contact or whatever email tool you're using and have them clean it for you, right? They are going to be upset with you. And if you have a high bounce rate, because again, I wouldn't trust it's clean, they could potentially drop you off of their platform. They're going to call you up for a one-way conversation and go, what the heck is this list? Right. So you can get quarantined off of there and probably banned if you do have a high bounce rate. So use a list cleaning tool. Zerobounce.net is one. It actually now is integrated with Constant Contact. I use that to clean lists that are either not so fresh or new lists or whatever. So definitely use an outside list cleaner. The other issue, as it said here, is spam risk. So if you do put it into your email platform and decide just to, let's just send it out, and you get a lot of unsubscribes and they choose, I never signed up for it. If it's a high amount of spam reports, they will also potentially quarantine you off and ban you from their platform because they're like, where did this list come? Why are there so many people who said I never signed up for it? And I even had, even as a partner with Constant Contact, and this was weird. It happened in December only, and it hasn't happened since. So I'm kind of thinking that people started, like I did the same thing. I said, let me go through my inbox with my 10,000 emails in there and start cleaning and try to get to inbox zero and end of the year. So I had a couple people hadn't done anything different, to just sending out my emails, didn't add anybody I shouldn't have added. And a couple people did some extra step in Constant Contact. They went to some third party and reported it. Still, I don't understand. Constant Contact won't tell me who or what, but they said, you need to call us. They shut my account down and you need to call us. And like, they gave me the third degree, the light shining on me, third degree. Where'd you get this, Liz? Who is this? Where is this from? And again, nothing was new, explain where I get the list from and all of that. And they did, turn my account. And it happened a couple of times, but it hasn't happened since. So they take it pretty seriously. I don't know why these particular people decided to do some extra step on there, maybe as they're cleaning out their inbox, but even me as a partner got dinged and for luckily was able to explain that I didn't get these lists anywhere else, but opted in. So you do have to be very mindful of that. So be very careful if you do decide to purchase a list. Again, make sure that you clean them outside of your platform, and then also be aware that that could potentially happen with the spam report as well. So better to be opted in with your own results. So think about like your reaction when you're receiving an unsolicited email, right? Where did they get your address? Is it marked as spam? Can you unsubscribe from it, right? You want to make sure you are getting permission from your subscribers, right? And how do you get them to say yes, right? So you could say yes verbally if you're in person, check a box during the purchase or donation. So if you have an online sign up form, of course, use the online sign up forms, different options to do that. And then, think about how you signed up, right? Did you have a sign up form? What did you fill out if you signed up yourself and not somebody signing up for you as well, right? We usually use some type of sign up form. And you can get signups in person, online, via print, different methods, depends on your business, right? Some people don't have an, way to do it in person. I'll talk about some different methods as well. I think I added in my own slides. So in person, just ask, right? Maybe when they're making a purchase, if you have a storefront, I know some of you have a storefront, maybe at the point of POS, right? Or if you have a storefront, figure out the different ways. If you don't have a POS system that's collecting emails, have a sign up sheet at the counter or a pad, iPad or a QR code or something that goes to your landing page. Make it easy for them to sign up for it, right? Maybe while helping a customer get their information at events as well. If you're collecting information for events, get their cards, have a sign up sheet, have your QR code, whatever it is that's easy for you to collect that information. Remember, ABC, always be collecting. So online, right? Multiple places you can do this online. Of course, on your website, make sure you have it on every single page of your website, not just the home page. Prominently, if you can have it towards the top of the page, it's better than kind of buried at the bottom, but do make sure it's on every single page. Make sure it works. So test it out. Everybody try your newsletter sign up form, put an email address in, test it out, go find it. Make sure you know where it's collecting. I've had people say, I don't even know. We have a list. I don't know where it goes. Somebody else has access to it. So make sure you know where your list ends up and make sure your online form is actually collecting information. Of course, on social media, you can do social media posts and encourage people to sign up for your list as well. In your email signature, so in your Outlook or Apple Mail, Gmail, make sure you put, hey, sign up for our newsletter on there. Obviously, during an online purchase, maybe have that checkbox, sign up for our mailing list. Running an online lead ad, so you can do lead magnets as well. I think I have that in here. We'll talk about lead magnets. So different ways. You want it anywhere you possibly can collect. You want to collect, right? If you're doing in-person networking, we mentioned the in-person already. Make sure if you're gathering cards, make sure that you're asking permission, right? I don't want to go to a mixer, gather all the cards, and then just dump them on my list, right? I reach out to them, connect with them on LinkedIn, maybe send a quick email and say, oh, hey, I have a marketing newsletter. Would you be interested in being on my list? So do make sure you ask permission wherever you go. And then definitely some other ways, signage on your location, on a business card. I have a QR code on the back of my business card that goes to, I have Hi Hello. So it's a digital networking tool. And I have one of the options is to sign up for my email and my LinkedIn newsletter and schedule a call, all the different things on there. Flyers, brochures, direct mail, use a QR code. On Constant Contact, you can create a QR code to a landing page that you can create on Constant Contact. You can do it yourself, through Canva. You can create a QR code that lands to a landing page if you want to do it that way. You can do a text to join. That's another feature on Constant Contact as well. And then understanding why people subscribe. Like, why do you sign up for an email list, right? Generally, a lot of us are like, well, I get the free shipping or my 10% discount, whatever. So we'll get the pop-ups come up and we'll sign up for it. And we decide either to stay on the list or not. Maybe we're looking for some exclusive content. Maybe we're following somebody who has great tips and things, and we're like, let's keep getting their information via email. Maybe we're showing support, maybe for a charity, a nonprofit, so we want to show support. Maybe we're donating or just at least following them, right? So different reasons that people sign up for things, right? And, we also want to make sure that we remove risk, right? Make sure they understand what they're getting into. Most people are used to signing up online for things nowadays. They might want to know, how often are you going to be sending out email? So if you can make that clear, like I send out a weekly email or it's going to be quarterly, maybe you have different versions, or you can say, oh, I have a quarterly version or a daily or a weekly or whatever, so they can choose how often they want to get the emails. Are you going to share my information? So make sure you're clear. You do not rent, sell, give away, do anything with their information, right? Typically have a message on your sign up form. Are they able to easily opt out, right? There should be an easy way. Constant Contact has safe unsubscribe. As soon as you hit that, you are removed. There are some businesses that maybe have their own email marketing systems. And when you unsubscribe, you still keep getting emails, right? And you're like, how do I get off of it? They won't unsubscribe me. So with Constant Contact and most of the email platforms, as soon as you unsubscribe, you are truly not going to ever get an email again, right? So make sure you make that easy for them. Again, make it easy to sign up. Could do it for them in some way. Don't collect too much information. Don't have a full-on sign-up form, name, address, and phone number, and how old they are, and all that stuff. I would say name and email, maybe the business name. I'd maybe a few pieces of information if you don't want to get too complicated. I always want to have the name so I can use it for merge tags to say, oh, dear Patty, or thanks, Patty, or use them in the subject line as well. Make it conversational, so make it super easy. Provide some value. What am I getting by signing up for your list? Meaning not giving me a discount or something, that's always good. But what is the information I'm going to get? Make sure it's very clear when they're signing up. Oops, here we go. And here's some examples of the pop-ups or mail gates, right? So whether you have an embedded form or a pop-up, I usually say have both, right? In this case, you can do a coupon, get 15% off of your purchase. You can do, here's showing support. So an animal rescue, sign up to receive a free adoption guide, right? And hopefully they have your list so they can keep asking you for donations, right? They need to make money too. Scroll up. There we go. Okay. And then giving information, right? Being exclusive content, sign up for access to our free ebook. Those are some of the different options that you can do. And some other lead magnet ideas. Anybody here, let me ask in the audience, anybody here already doing lead magnets? Say yes in chat or raise your hand. Let me know. Love QR code. So it's so interesting to hear, like Jeanette, I was curious about that. She says, I love QR codes. Prior to 2020, would we have said that? QR codes have been around many years, but I don't think we started really embracing them until we had to with COVID, right? So it's just funny to see that. So anybody here said do QR or do a lead magnet? Okay, it looks like we don't have any. So basically the lead magnets is you have something of value to give, and in return they have something of value, their information, right? So here's an example of one from Microsoft, right? It's a customer experience e-cookbook. Just give us all your information. The box is already checked, sign up for our newsletter. And as soon as they fill it out, they can download the cookbook, right? So that's one example. One that I had a client many years ago that wrote a financial planning book for women, and he had a bunch of white papers on various financial topics that weren't in the book, but applied. So to encourage them to sign up and get the white paper, we have them on the list and then sell them the book. We did these social media posts, and then we had a landing page. This was through MailChimp. And then as soon as they signed up, we sent them the white paper on prenuptial agreements. So that would be what a lead magnet is. And if you don't have any lead magnets and want to create some, you could always, go to the robots, whichever AI tool that you want to use, and have them give you some ideas. If you can't come up with them on your own. So this was a client of mine that does business mindset coaching. So we put this to appeal to burned out corporate executives on how to have work-life balance and the employees they manage to prevent employee turnover. So here we got a bunch of ideas spit out, 10 proven strategies to overcome burnout and achieve work-life balance, right? One-on-one strategy session, the power of delegation, and then you can have the robots help you write them if you want. Start out the writing for you. Here's another example for wineries, right? So wineries that want to appeal to wine enthusiasts are either well-educated or on wine or new. So again, a bunch of ideas, wine tasting 101, a beginner's guide. So something that would be interesting to your ideal audience is what the lead magnets are. So, create some lead magnets, do some social media posts, and build your list that way. Okay. And on Constant Contact, they have a lead magnet building tool. So this was just one example where you're asking some questions here on the left. It has a QR code on there. And then at the end of the quiz, it collects that information and then submits and then sends them their answers to their quiz or whatever. So different things you can set up with a lead magnet tool on Constant Contact. Do your own. And let's see, a question, do lead magnets still work? With ChatGPT increase, most people can obtain the educational content. Yeah, yes, true. Right? ChatGPT or any of the AI tools out there can definitely get us a lot of information, right? Even Google information. But, right, sometimes, right, if it can get you right to the answer, I'll download things too. Somebody has a book on, how to do the latest marketing tips or how do I better clean my house or whatever. Do I want to go and put in some prompts in ChatGPT or on Google to do that if somebody puts it right in my face? Potentially, but I'm going to go like what's easiest. I don't mind giving my information if the information's valuable, right? So it does. I mean, you can go both ways. It's good. That's a good point. But lead magnets still work if it's something of interest to people, right? Still can definitely still can work, right? Good questions, though. Okay. So, how to use constant contact sign up tools, and there's a lot of them out there as well. And again, whatever tool you're using, again, I know we're focusing on constant contact today, but rules apply, same rules apply, whichever tool you're using out there. So, we're talked about segmenting, maybe segmenting by their sign up source as well. That could be one way to segment. So, for example, maybe you have your website sign up, and maybe it's more educational content. Maybe they signed up at an event, so maybe you send event highlights, or they're in store, maybe they get loyalty rewards. Not that you can't segment and send the, in store the educational content, but that's just one way to think about um, segmenting your lists out. And make sure they speak. I wish I had included the slide on this case study from my own email class, but I had a client, a winery client, wine client. They imported their wine from Burgundy, France, and they had 30 wine producers with 250 SKUs. And he was very prolific with email when I met him, and he hired me because he wanted to build his email list. And at that time, this was back to about seven years ago or so. The list is older, I mean, older people. So they were, aging out of the wine drinking market, and he wanted to grow the list. But he emailed every week, but he was doing these great specials, but they were $500 and above case is special, $700, $900 plus. What one thing he didn't do was he didn't go back to his list, his existing list, and look and see why people stopped purchasing. Why is his list shrinking? He still would make some sales. So I went and looked under the hood and found there was a bunch of people who had stopped purchasing a few years back, and their average order value was never above $300. So he basically stopped speaking to them, so to speak, right? He didn't segment them out and say, hey, let's do a smaller deal for them than the larger deal. So I'm like, well, let's go back and see if we can, raise the dead, the not the literal dead, but the dead people who had not purchased for a while. So we did, let's just do some deals. We'll cut the deals in half. We'll do some $300 deals. And guess what? We raised the dead. People who had not purchased for a couple of years came back and started purchasing again. Now, going back to that ROI, right? The $40 return on investment. Now think about this. Since it's not our money, we can speculate and it won't hurt us, but just think if this guy maybe had hired me a few years earlier, to look at under the hood, or if he had looked under the hood a few years earlier, let's just say those $300 average spends purchased three times a year. So we'll round it up to $1,000. So 300, and we'll just add it up. So let's just say, and there was about 20 or so customers who had stopped purchasing. So we'll just say 20. So $1,000 times 20 customers, right? Each year is at 20,000, I think. I'm doing math. So a couple of years, $40,000 of loss without going and looking under the hood and seeing that, hey, maybe we should do some segmentation and say, well, we can still do the large deals, but let's do some smaller deals as well. Maybe people purchased only like red wine and you keep doing mixed cases. So making sure you're speaking to your customers correctly. And by speaking, I mean emailing them, and giving them exactly what they want. So who knows how many thousands of dollars he totally lost off that. And it could have been a few years back even. But, yeah, being able to go back and get people, luckily didn't clean the list and delete them because they hadn't purchased. So definitely look under the hood, see what's going on before you go and try to purchase lists, right? So definitely ask for permission, right? Entice them to show the value in the ask. Set a strategy to grow your subscribers and grow your business. Very important, as we see here, very important tool. Let's see, great question. Nadia put in Q&A so she can answer. Let's see. Oh, I think that was the same question about lead magnets. Nana, right? I think that was in there. Yes. Nadia, I don't see one from Nadia in there. So if there was, unless I already answered it. How do you clean a list? Good question, Julia. Hi, Julia. Oh, there it is. I see the question now. Just had to scroll up. So there is a program called zerobounce.net. And that's what there's others out there. That's the one I've been using. I just actually saw that is incorporated or integrated with Constant Contact now. I haven't had a chance to use it, but you go to zerobounce.net. It's inexpensive, I would say pennies on the dollar to list. So, for example, I put in a list recently. It was 4,500 names. It was about $40 to clean it. I did one that was a 500,000 names. That was about $1,000. It was a big list. Cut the list right in half. Once it spit out the good ones, about quarter of a million got bad, so good thing we didn't put it into the email platform and try to send to 250,000. They would not have been happy about that. So that's how you clean the list. Good question on that. How do you understand the type of behavior in order to use properly your segmentation? So if you're talking about like the behavior I was talking about earlier, the early birds, the late, I'm not sure that's what you're talking about. But generally you're going off of the behaviors that are easy to find, like the people who only purchased under $300, right? Or they're only purchasing, red wine, or they only, use my, marketing training services, for example. So things that are easily defined, you can't really go off of behaviors like, hey, they're an early bird shopper or a late shopper, right? So in that case, I don't necessarily segment, but I email out based on hitting all those behaviors, knowing that so I'll give you another example. So SCORE that I teach for, SCORE Los Angeles. So I'm on their workshop and marketing committee, and back 2019, so just before COVID, right? So everything was live, right? All workshops were live. You had to go drive and attend them. So you couldn't really do things last minute. But when I first started working in the marketing committee, they were sending out one email at the first of the month and showing this is what's happening for the month, and then once a week from there. And I said, but wait a second. Okay, if we send one on July 1st, and I have or somebody, no, somebody has a class on July 6th, for example, they only had a chance to see one email for that class. And I said, I don't think that's enough. So we wound up changing it. So this is like late 2019. And so we changed it to send an email out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We took away the first of the month one. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, an email goes out, and with all the classes coming up. So there's a chance that somebody's going to get it. Then COVID hits, right? March of 2020, COVID hits, everything immediately went to webinars. So then we're like, okay, we're still going to do every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But now, since hey, everybody's at home and can attend right in their pajamas, don't have to drive anywhere. We also added the same day email. So a couple hours before the first class of the day, 10 a.m., we'd send an email out at 6 or 7 a.m. and we'd have people show up at the last minute, right? So we still do that. And I do that as well. So I'm, going off of those behaviors I talked about, the ones that are seeing the emails early and then the ones that are going to wait until the last minute. Again, I can't really segment because I don't know who's going to, know at what point are they going to see the email and decide to attend a class. But whatever you can segment on, it's easy to like a purchase history or something like that. Hopefully that answers the question. Perfect. Glad you understand. Let's see, I have done several successful email campaigns through businesses and influencers that send out my email under their business name. Yeah, so I don't know, that's a question in that or just a comment, but yeah, if they're sending it out through their list, right, under their business name, I think is how I'm reading it. So yeah, if you're able to get it work with influencers and they send out emails, I've sent out emails for not say influencers, but other businesses that for services or products that would be ancillary to what I do. More than happy to send it to my list as well if it's useful to my list of business owners. But yeah, no, very, very important. Let's see. So everybody share neverbounce.com. Someone zero bounce. Thanks for sharing those. Let's see. Even when it's on my calendar, it's a quick, good reminder. Perfect. All right. Okay. So I'm gonna keep on going. We're almost done here. So talking about the different tools that are out there, right? Definitely, or mentioned again here, it's the ROI 36 for every $1 spent. And averages somewhere in between there. So definitely sending out emails. There's birthday emails that you can do. So different automations. I've done a good birthday program where we either give them a gift or we're just sending a birthday message. People like to receive those messages, right? Tons of email marketing templates within Constant Contact. I mean, that's why they exist. That's why they were born in 1995 to do emails. So there's tons of great templates in there. AI tools to help you build emails. They're integrated with Canva as well. So you can take your Canva content and bring it over into Constant Contact as well. And even if you want to do text marketing, you can do text marketing through Constant Contact. So in addition to your email marketing, you can do that. And then you also have social media. So if you want to do your social media marketing, you can do it through Constant Contact. So as you're sending out your emails, you can also do posts right from here as well. Not just a one-stop shop anymore, right? In-person events, there's paid, you can do event sign-up forms, right? So I know SCORE uses Constant Contact for their sign-up forms as well. So you can gather information from here for your events. Oops, there we go. It's weird to not click on the side instead of just click on the screen. So definitely they have something called Campaign Builder. Make it super simple. Again, AI tools are in there to manage your email, your social media, and your text marketing. All right, if you want to use AI tools, you can do them right within here. These are all the different things you can do with Constant Contact. Obviously, email, social automations, AI, text. You can create your landing pages here. You can do social and Google ads through here, event, your lead magnets, which is listed under the list growth section, not separately here. You can do survey. So a lot of tools here. So if you're interested, and this is where you get your camera phone out, because I have a couple QR codes for you here. So from Constant Contact, you get, if you want a free month's trial, you can scan that QR code. There also is, if you just want to go ahead and sign up for Constant Contact, they are offering 30% off for 3 months off of their monthly or annual cost. So you can use that code at the bottom, the 330P. So that is a little gift from Constant Contact if you do want to sign up and use it. And more than happy to help you with your Constant Contact account. You're all welcome to schedule a strategy session with me to talk about your email marketing or ask any questions about any marketing you have. So scan that QR code on the right or go to callwithpatty.com and schedule that on my calendar. And I also encourage you to join my LinkedIn Marketing Lab group. So you're this QR code on the left there. You are welcome to introduce yourself. Please do come in there and introduce yourself, and you can shamelessly plug yourself. I have no rules other than nothing illegal, but share your links to your website, your LinkedIn, whatever you want to share there, and ask any questions. I'm there. I think Chris might be in there too. Any questions that you have about marketing or otherwise, definitely post them in the group. I do monitor the group for any questions, and make sure you network. And because again, you never know who's in the room who might want to do business with you. So I'm going to look and see if there's any questions. I think we just limited it to just about an hour, so I'm going to give you back some time. Let's see. So much training and marketing online today for an email campaign. Associate with training, is an email that morning enough, or do you send something out more often ahead of time? What do you recommend? Yeah, so talking about frequency and those different kind of behaviors, right? So I want to make sure that, especially for my classes, that I'm hitting all those. Like I said before, I send them out a week before, a couple of days before, the morning of. So definitely want to hit it because not everybody's going to see that one email that you send out, right? We probably all have thousands of emails in our inboxes and are inundated with emails. So you want to make sure that you get out there kind of above all the other noise. They might miss that one email, so there's different strategies, different subject lines to get people's attention. Again, trying emojis. You can do what's called A/B testing. I talk about that in my other email class. where you could split the list into two. It's also called split testing. Try a subject line with one thing or another, or try it with or without emojis. You can try different times of the day or different days of the week. So, different things that you can A/B test against and see what works for you. Yeah, let me go back a slide. So, this is the constant contact. If you want the free month trial, that's the QR code to scan and sign up. If you want the 30% off 3 months, you can use just that code when you make your purchase there. And then I'm going to go back, and then we'll make sure we'll share that again when you get the landing page from Case. They'll send that to you as well. Resending same email when it's not open, is that okay? Yeah, so I know Constant Contact has this feature. So whenever you send an email out, as soon as you're sending it, there's a checkbox that say resend to the non-openers in 2 days or 3 days or whatever it is. So definitely can do that. But I would send it anyways to everybody, because even if the person say they didn't open it, I want to send, or they did open it and they didn't respond, they didn't convert. I want to make sure they're seeing it again. Maybe they opened it, saw it, and plus there's also drive-by open, so they might be opening it in their preview pane, and that might list as an open. So I want to make sure that everybody sees it, and and I was just talking to somebody about this before this class today. I've had people approach me talking about building brand awareness. So my logo, as you see on all of my slides here, the Golden State Bear marketing there. I wear a badge, plastic name badge whenever I go to events. I don't use theirs. I always put mine on that has my branding on it. And I have had people approach me at almost every single mixer I've gone to recently and say, I receive your emails, right? Luckily, nobody's punching me and saying, stop sending me so many emails. But it's brand awareness, right? I'm glad that they like receiving the emails and they recognize it, whether they're doing anything or not. It's all about building your brand, right? So wherever you're at, make sure you're building your brand, and email is definitely part of that. So definitely send it again. Don't want to miss out. I missed the zerobounce.net compliment program. Yeah, so zerobounce.net, there's no QR code or anything for that. That's the program to clean a list if you have an existing list that is not so fresh. Say if even you have your own list, but you haven't emailed it for a year or months and months, I would still go and clean it rather than sending it again through your email platform. Because if it's not so fresh, you might have a lot of bounces. So you have to just be careful with that. Constant Contact or any of the email platforms don't want to see a lot of bounces going through their system. And good question. So much. Okay, I think we got that question. So I think you're welcome. So I think that's it. Let me just look in the chat. Any Shopify developers? I know everybody in the room does Shopify. Post that in the marketing lab group. You can see if there's anybody. Check out Fiverr. There's a lot of Shopify developers there. It's might be hit or miss, but you might find somebody there. I don't know anybody in particular. If I did, I'll let you know. Let's see. I think that's it as far as questions. So I'm going to pass it back to Veronica to say goodbye from Pace. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Patty. That was wonderful. I know I got the comments in the chat just like myself that we learned so much from you, but it can be overwhelming. It can be a lot. So just remember, everyone, you're going to get a copy of today's webinar recording. And I did see someone who specifically wanted the PowerPoint slides to we will send those out to you. Yeah, so they will be on their way. We just Patty does this great thing where she packages it for everyone. So we'll just wait for that, but I will definitely share it out. And with that, if I don't know how you do a virtual round of applause, but I always want to I would do more. I would do a wave for Patty, but if we could do that. But so thank you everyone for joining us. And of course, I just want to encourage you to continue the series and join us on August 21st. Okay. And you'll also get the reminder. So if you're already signed up. So thank you everyone again, and you have a great rest of the day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.